Okay, good morning, everybody. How are you? Good.
Great.
Morning, Josh.
Hi, Brady. Hi,
Hey.
Sherry. Hi, Kim. Hi, Tia. Hi, Melinda.
Josh. It's good to see your face, mister.
Yeah.
And everyone else's.
We have a few more people popping on and then we'll kick it off. Okay, looks like we have the majority of the people on. Welcome, and this is a overview and / training for the division coordinators, formerly known as division coordinators. Now you're going to be known as division liaisons, because that's what's in the system. That's what's in the system. So it's just a lot easier. We'll just change it to liaisons now. And primarily, your role is to kind of manage the bill analysis process for your divisions. And it's going to be, it's the same concept as what happened in BATS. It's just a lot easier and more intuitive system that we have now. So, and she'll pop on sometime, and Larson will pop on sometime. She has a few things she has to deal with today. She'll pop on when she can. And with that, I'll pass it over to Brady, and he's with LobbyGov, and he'll take it from here. Brady?
Well, good morning, everyone. So I'm just making one last quick change, and then we're going to walk through this process as Josh mentioned. And for those of you who've used BATS or SharePoint or other tools, I hope you find this one to be a pretty easy transition. A number of other state agencies are using it currently, so you may have heard from colleagues or maybe been at an agency previous to DES and they were using it. So it's gone pretty well. And so I think we can hopefully replicate that process for this virtual session that's coming. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and then we can jump right in. So the first thing I'll just mention is anybody can, all of you should be inside in the LobbyGov system, should have an account inside here now if you haven't had a chance to take a look. So if you have any issues at the outset logging in or getting access to the system, just check with Josh and he can straighten it out. But we set it up so it's pretty easy. You can just go to des.lobbygov.com when you're on the state network. So whenever you're working, you're VPNing in or however you're accessing things, and a few of you at the office maybe. So it knows who you are, knows through your state account. So it should take you straight into LobbyGov. And I'm playing as Ann today. So it should show your name up at the upper right-hand corner once you're in here. So it's a pretty standard website. It's all web-based. So if you have a tablet or other device that you use for work that's also on the VPN, I don't know how many people actually have that or need to do that right now, but definitely your laptop or whatever you use, you can come right in here, and it functions like a pretty standard web application that you're used to. It's not as fancy as something like Facebook, but same idea. You just have the links and menu options that I'll go through down the side, and some general information depending on your permissions in your role. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump over, and for those of you who support as liaisons or coordinators, this is a little trick I'll just show you right at the outset. If you're, let's say someone from your division calls and says they're having trouble with something, you can actually go up to your name here and go to switch users, and that will give you a list of users in your division, and you can actually pretend to be them and provide and actually see what they see. So I'm going to jump over and into this test liaison account. We're going to work as that person, so we can see what most of you will see as we work through this. So, and it's a pretty small group. So if you have any questions, feel free to just unmute and jump in and stop me as we go, and we can answer things as we progress, because I know this is brand new for most of you. So again, what we're looking at, you can see the number of links on the side here. It went way down. Anne has a bunch of, as an administrator, has a bunch of things that you don't need to worry about. So the list got a little shorter, which is nice. But the first thing I'm looking at is actually the list of all bills that have been introduced in the legislature. So you have some access to just general information separate from what your specifically responsible for, which can be handy, or most of the time you probably don't have to worry about it. But I know a number of you sometimes just want to look at bills in general, and you hear about something, someone asks you about a bill, you can come here and actually look for them. So as a bit of a research tool. So what I'm looking at is the search bills page. It's the first one that is linked right here, or activated here. And you can see they've already pre-filed since last Monday, 40 bills. So they're off to the races, and you can see a little bit about them. You can see the title and the date that it was last updated. You can see the sponsor, the status information. And throughout the site, you can always click the bill number itself and get some overview information about the bill. So instead of having to go over to the Ledge site and dig through that, you can just take a quick look there, and you can see there's not a whole lot about this bill other than it's a mental health support for law enforcement. It's sponsored by Maycomer and Lubbock and pre-filed, and there's a little history. It's been pre-filed. So this will get more informative and more helpful as session progresses, with more history, and start a session when they actually write that digest description of the bill. So all this is updated really close to real time with legislative information, which is, I think, a nice feature that hopefully many of you come to like, is that what's actually happening in the legislature very quickly will be reflected in LobbyGov. So you're not going to have to manage multiple systems or be constantly looking in a different system to get the actual status or latest information. It should update. So if there's a vote on a bill or a hearing is scheduled, within a few minutes, you should be able to come into LobbyGov and see it listed here. So that's a big goal of this, is it integrates all of the information in real time with the legislature, which also helps Ann and Josh and the agency leadership as they're working on things. It's all the bill analysis information that all of you and your subject matter experts are working on is all in one place, and can be referenced really, really easily and help inform decision making. So that's the idea with that. There are a couple other links I'll show you. There's a little magnifying glass will take you to a details page similar to what's in the window here. This little chain link icon you can click, and it will actually take you right to the legislature website for the bill. So most of you know, you've been around a little while and know how this works. The legislature website actually has a distinct page for each bill. So this is where you can go and read more details about it. A lot of this information we capture, but this is the primary source. So you can actually scroll down, available documents, see, okay, there's the original bill. You can actually read the bill, scan the bill, document itself. So that's how you can access that really easily. Again, you just click this little link and it will pop up the Ledge page in a new window. So that's handy. Also, you'll notice this little BA button. So it's BA for bill analysis. And I added a couple bills as we've been playing around with this and demonstrating it. So this will appear anytime a bill is actually assigned for analysis at the agency, anywhere, not just in your department or your division or your area, anywhere across the agency. So sometimes you just want to know, you hear about a bill from a stakeholder or a colleague, and you just want to know, hey, is the agency working on it? What's going on with that? You could come over here to search bills, find the bill number, click this BA button, and it will tell you, oh yeah, it's in division test and they're the lead and it needs final approval. And you'll see this information here as it develops. So if there's actual information and it wasn't just a test bill, you'd see some of the analysis and some of the details that have been compiled by the agency subject matter experts and reviewers in here. So you could read really quickly what's going on with it and get back to your colleague, or just know for your own work or your own edification what's up with the bill. So that's a handy tool, just kind of to look across the agency. You can also use this page as a research tool. So we store bill information. Those of you who've been around a while, we go all the way back to the 60th session, which I think is 2007. So most of you know that bills are rarely completely new in the legislature, right? They come back again and again. So sometimes someone might say, oh, I know there's a bill from 2-3 years ago, 3 sessions ago, that covered this exact same topic, but I can't remember the number. So you can actually come in here, select 60th session, and do a quick search. And it will do, let me just try one. It will do a quick full text search of the bill document. So it's kind of like Google results. It will search it and give you the best results first. So right here, I search enterprise services. I got back 2289, which has to do with information technology. So there must be a lot of references to enterprise services in there, which would make sense. And you can go back. Oh yeah, in 2007, I think it was 2289. You can click this link again and go read the bill and see if that's what somebody was asking you about. You can also go back to the current session. So just make sure you go back to the current session after you're done. Otherwise, you'll be living back 10 years ago in the prior session you set. And you can always search full text as well. So we can see if there's any mention of enterprise already. Doesn't look like there is in the bills that have been introduced yet. But if I do like, and you could do a phrase and put it in quotes, but if I search law enforcement, like I know there are several, there are these bills already. So they'll show up. So you can always find bills by text search as well, which again, it's search full text of the bill, not just the title or the short description. So it's a great way to find things deep inside long bills. Sometimes, you might search for work groups or other things and they're buried in these large bills. So it's pretty nice, pretty fast, hopefully helpful if you're ever looking for something. The next piece I'll show you, I'll jump up to upcoming events, even though they aren't doing anything yet. So this bill analysis upcoming events page is somewhat handy, I think, for someone in your role. If you just want to know what hearings are scheduled for all the bills in your division or department, this populates and cross-checks the bills with the hearing schedule for the week. So if you might have 50 bills in your division that are being analyzed or worked on, and you want to just come here and get a list of all the bills that actually have hearings coming up, the system will cross-check those bills with any public hearings or executive sessions. And during sessions, usually a week out. But I know the legislature, they've actually gotten pretty bad and they make changes all the time to calendars. So this will update again pretty close to real time. So this is also a handy tool to come if you're trying to help manage people's workloads with bill analysis. You might want to come here and see, oh, well, we have 20, 30 bills in the division right now, but 2 or 3 of them have a hearing coming up. So maybe I want to reach out to the person who's responsible for the bill with hearings and just double check that they're making some progress. But so that's one way I know some people use it. So you'll just have to trust me that this does work and this will fill in. You should see it the week before session. It will populate with information when they release the first week's calendar. So we'll see how it goes. It's going to be interesting with everything virtually, but we fully anticipate them still having plenty of committee meetings and plenty of bill hearings. So we'll see what happens. Next thing I'll show you, legislators. So again, this will get updated. It's kind of, we're in that transition time where new legislators don't officially take their office yet, but they're transitioning in. So this will get updated. And most of you probably don't actually have to worry about contacting legislators directly, but maybe you want to put a face to a name, or you just, or you're asked by someone, or you're involved in an interagency thing or a work group or something, and it comes up and you just want to see a little bit more about the legislator. You can come here and take a look, and it has their name and which chamber they're in. You can narrow by committee. So maybe you want to see who's in education or in local government or these different committees. You can search through that. You can also click the name. So like I can go into Sherry Appleton is one of those who retired, and this screen will, it's giving me a little error. I'll have to check on that. It should look cleaner, but it shows their actual district. So up in the Kitsap Peninsula, it looks like you're up in Bainbridge Island area, Bremerton, or up there. So you can see where they actually are. You can see their capital office. And then a nice feature is you can come down here. She doesn't have any bills this session because she's retired this coming session, but you could go back and take a look at the bills that Appleton introduced in prior years. So this is another handy research tool. If like someone says, I know there was a bill that Representative Appleton introduced 2 years ago, and you can't remember the number. So you could come in here and you could look for bills that are just primary sponsor bills, and you could search through them and look for them there as well, and then click this and get more info on it. So most of the time, again, you probably won't have to worry about this, but it is handy just in case anything comes up. Maybe a legislator calls you and you just want to know a little bit more about them, or their office calls you, or you're working with them in some way. So that's what that's for. Committees. So LobbyGov, like I mentioned, is capturing committee information pretty close to real time. So for those of you who follow the committee activity closely or need to or interested in it or curious about it, you can always come here during session and you'll see all the different committees in here and you can search through them. And as hearings are scheduled, they will show up in this list here. And so each week, they have 2 or 3 meetings. They'll show up here, and you can click and read the details of the meetings, and maybe it's something you want to follow or put on your calendar. So this will populate as well. So again, this is capturing information all the time. So it's just kind of handy. Sometimes maybe you're working on an environment and energy issue, some sort of code requirements or something in your department, and there's some hearings coming up, but you're not sure what exactly. You could just come here and look at environment and energy, see the meetings that are coming up for the week, and take a look at the agenda and put it on your calendar if you want to. So again, you'll just have to trust me that it works. You'll have to come back the week before session when they have the hearing schedule out, and you'll be able to see it fill in with information. So I'm going to just point out one other thing, and then we'll get into the meat of it all, which is the bill analysis piece, which is why we're all here today. But I wanted to cover these other parts. Account setting. You don't really have to worry about this because of the single sign-on where the system is set up to know who you are when you're at work. But there are some functions here that maybe you want to take advantage of. You can upload a picture if you want to, although you don't have to. It doesn't really do anything critical. And if you want to, though, you're more than welcome. You can update emails or change your name if you need to. Most of you won't access this with a password, so you don't even need to, it won't even do anything if you do that. So don't even have to worry about that. But that's what this is here. Support, I think it'll just tell you, yeah, talk to Josh. And if Josh has any issues, I think we've had pretty good luck over the last several years. LobbyGov hasn't crashed, and it's been able to operate. There are thousands of agency users are in this across town. So, but if you run into any issues, you're not sure why it's doing something, how to get something out, check in with Josh first, and then if there are any technical issues or questions, he can send them over to us, and we can work through them that way. So that's really all you need to worry about. But like I said, most of the time it works pretty well. It's just a matter of finding where things are. And technically, the site typically runs really well. We don't really have any technical outages or anything because I know it's pretty mission critical, especially as we head into session. So it's built fairly robust way to stay up and running. So that's our goal anyway. The next piece I'll show you, we're going to go right into bill analysis. So if anybody has any questions about these other features, again, you can just jump in, but go in here when you have a chance. I know everybody's busy before the holiday, but just get in here and you can play around. You can't break anything. So you can come in here and look around and get familiar with the site instead of, if you can, instead of waiting till January to look at it. Make sure you can get in, make sure you can navigate okay, and things are working okay for you. So again, bill analysis, that's the main event. So I want to show you that. Essentially, before we get into those features, though, I just wanted to mention LobbyGov sends a number of email alerts when it needs you to do something. So, and it also sends those email alerts to reviewers or analysts in your division as well. So I know this is always on top of your other work, right? So instead of coming into LobbyGov and just refreshing the page all day, waiting for something to show up for you to do or for it to ask you to do something, you can wait to get email alerts. And you'll get an email alert when there's a new bill that's been assigned by government relations to your division. You'll get an email alert letting you know when reviewers have completed their work and it's ready for you to approve, or if it needs you to approve anything or take a look at anything. So those reminders are really nice. It will also send 24-hour reminders to the reviewers themselves. So instead of you having to manually craft emails to people asking them to finish their bill analysis in the next day, LobbyGov will send an automated email for that. So a lot of that, so like I said, you can rely on those alerts, and then that'll trigger when you need to actually come in here and do something. So what it will often tell you to do right at the outset is your division has been assigned a bill, and please go in and assign it to the right reviewers. So that's what we're actually going to do here. So I get that email, I'm going to come in here as this test liaison and go to bill analysis. You have a number of options here, but and they're kind of broken out in general by where the bills are in the process. You can go to all tasks if you just want to look at everything all across whatever the status is. So if you just want to see all bills that have been assigned across the agency, you could come here and take a look here as well. But most of the time you're going to go to awaiting assignment. You're going to get that email saying, please assign, in this case, House Bill 1001. So you'll come to awaiting assignment and you'll see there's House Bill 1001 waiting for you. It'll tell you a little bit about the bill. Again, you can you can click this and read a little bit about it. You can see where it's been assigned. I assigned this one to only one division, test as lead, but if it was assigned to multiple divisions, which is pretty common, you'll see that listed and you'll know, you'll have that information at your disposal. So that can help you inform how you're going to assign it or what you're going to do with it. But most of the time, you're just going to come over and look at these different boxes and click these depending on what you want to do. Most of the time, you're going to click this assign to reviewers box, right? Because the bill is clearly in the right place. It's clearly the right bill for your division. You're going to assign it to the reviewers. But you do have a few other options where you can kind of dismiss these at the front end without requiring people to do analysis, assuming you know that and you're comfortable doing that. Most of the time, you're probably not going to be able to do that. But sometimes things happen in the rush of session. So there's mark as misassigned. And this is one like, in the craziness of it all, there are hundreds of bills introduced a day and Josh and Ann just accidentally assigned it to your division and you're looking at it and thinking, this really has it doesn't seem relevant. This doesn't seem like something that my division should take a look at. Accidents happen, right? So you could just, instead of wasting reviewer time, if you can determine that at the front end really quickly, you could just write an explanation, probably more informative than that one, but then you can actually select, if you don't have to do this, but it gives you the option to recommend other departments as well. So maybe you're in capital security, but it really should be a buildings and grounds bill. So you could check that if you know that. Again, you don't have to. And then you just click yes, and that will send that information back to Josh, and then it will disappear from your queue. You no longer have to worry about it. The other option is no DES impact. So sometimes bills are assigned, they're correct in terms of the subject matter, but you can tell at the front end, the start, that it just has no impact to DES. Example I give is like personnel or HR related bills that only apply to private sector companies. So if you're in HR at DES, yes, it's relevant, it's properly assigned to you because it relates to HR, but you can tell right away, or right away, but it has nothing to do with DES operations or DES impact. So you could click that and then dismiss it as well, instead of actually reviewing it or working on it. But like I said, that's probably pretty rare, so you probably won't be able to use those. Most of the time you're going to go in, you go here, read the bill really quick. If you need to scan the bill to determine who your subject matter expert should be, and pop back over and click assign to reviewers. The due date automatically populates in based on the system settings. I think it's 3 days out. One question we got, what about weekends? It will adjust for weekends. So it does consider weekends as non-working days, I think. I think that's Josh, at least I think that's how it's set in your account, but that's an option. It doesn't do that for holidays though. So there's always a couple holidays during session where people are usually, agency people are off, but session's still cooking. So it doesn't adjust for that. But if there's if you needed to make a change to this due date, maybe you want it a little earlier, maybe you need some time to look at it, you could always adjust this. It just pops up a little calendar. Most of the time it's probably fine though. You'll see a list of all the reviewers. We've already imported them in your respective departments or divisions. So if someone's missing or something isn't quite right, check in with Josh. But in this case, I just have this test reviewer as the only person. So that's who I'm going to assign it to. So I'm going to hit save. And you'll see now it's gone from my awaiting assignment list. And what's happened in the background is it's now sent an email to that test reviewer, told them, hey, please take a look at this. You've been assigned this bill by your liaison or your coordinator. Now it's ready for you to work on. So are there any questions about that assigning piece before I move on? Like I said, it's pretty straightforward. The system will tell you when it needs you to. You just come in here to bill analysis, awaiting assignment, and click that assign button. and then that's all you need to do for a while. And I think maybe Josh, before session, I don't know if you guys are going to do some practice ones or start trying with pre-filed bills as they trickle in, but you'll be able to get the hang of it pretty quickly, I'm confident. So what I'm going to do now is jump back into, I'm going to switch into the reviewer role. So just so you know what it looks like, we're going to kind of walk through a bill process. So now let's pretend I'm test reviewer, Brady reviewer. I got an email saying, you've been assigned 1001, please review it. So I log in as the reviewer here. So these are the people in your department or division that are responsible for reviewing it. They're going to take a look. They're immediately taken to their to-do list and they can see it. Oh, there's 1001. So they have similar views that you do, but they're going to see this page and they're going to go review bill. And this populates with some standard information about the bill. It gives them the status up at the top. They can also go to the legislature bill page right here, bill summary, pretty straightforward, tries to be as user-friendly as possible. Gives them status information, tells them the lead division so they know, oh, that's my division. So I'm responsible for it as the lead. Then there are other divisions it's assigned to would be listed there as well. And if other divisions are working on it and there's information to share, like they've done some analysis already, that would be linkable here. So that will fill in and you'll see that. But most of the time, they're just going to jump down here and start working on it. It's basically a web-based form and it does auto-save. So people are worried about that. It does auto-save. I still encourage people to save, especially in this remote environment. Everybody's internet is a little unpredictable. So just make sure you save periodically, but it will do auto-save. But you have some initial questions, which are similar to those buttons that I showed you. So maybe you didn't notice or you didn't want to say, you wanted the reviewer to take a look first. They could look at it and they can say, yeah, this is definitely misassigned. So they have a similar functionality where they can then recommend, yeah, definitely should go to buildings and grounds, right? And then they could go down to the end and submit it. So again, that's probably rare for them as well, but that's an option that's there. There's also, again, it doesn't impact DES. So again, they take a quick look at it as the reviewer and they think, there's, it's the right subject matter again, but it just doesn't impact DES. I don't need to do a full analysis. So they're going to check that box. Again, probably not very likely, but then you can work your way down. And this is a customizable, it's customizable by Josh and Ann. They have access to build this web form. So they put those questions in here. This is essentially a DES bill analysis template that's inside here. And so it has a bunch of standard questions. Anything with a star asterisk is required. So it asks you to mark some information. I'm just going to put some text and work my way down these different questions. So if you have questions like substantive questions about like what should I actually write for this question, you should check in with Josh, or if you have those questions now, I'm sure Josh could answer them. But so these are not LobbyGov questions. These are questions that are designed by the agency. So if you want pro tips on how they would like information provided to answer specific questions, definitely reach out to Josh or Ann. You can paste text in. So, there's some style functionality here that most of you probably seen and work with web forms. You can make things bold and do bulleted lists and paste in things, make all sorts of style changes. You can also, some people, they like to write, especially if it's a bigger bill, they like to write their text in Word and then paste it in. You can do that and it should work just fine pasting in from Word. And you just can work your way down and answer these questions. It asks various things about impacts and policy impacts and are reports required and rulemaking, on and on and on. So most of these questions you've probably seen in some form or another before. I'm just going to mark some things. So we have down. I'm just going to answer these. Then at the end, it gives the reviewer an opportunity to recommend a position. So they might recommend, yeah, we should be neutral on it. And then they could give an explanation if they want to. Also recommends a priority. So maybe high priority, but we should be neutral. They can also attach files. So sometimes you're working on things with colleagues. You might have a memo or some sort of white paper, relevant analysis or document that is helpful, and you want to make sure, kind of make it a part of the record, make and have it accessible, especially for Ann and Josh as they're working on things in the government relations side of things. Maybe it's helpful to have something. So you can upload as many files as you want, but the key, and you can always download it as you're working on it. So this download PDF will give you a snapshot, whatever it is in this current form, it will generate a PDF for you. So if you want to print it out and take a look at it or send it to someone to look at, you can always do that really easily. There's the save button here, which I mentioned. So you can save as you're going or save at the end. And you see it says changes saved. But the big thing to do once the reviewer, and so this might come up where someone says, well, I finished my analysis. And you're like, well, I haven't gotten it back yet. You could say, just make sure that, hey, did you mark it as complete? Because that's how LobbyGov knows that it's ready for the next step in the process. So I'm going to do that here. I'm going to say, is your review complete? I'm going to hit yes. And now I hit save. And now what's happening, it takes me back to the to-do list. So as a reviewer, I'm done for now. I don't need to worry about it anymore, at least for a while. So it's, again, in the background, LobbyGov will send an email to the appropriate person, either an approver or a liaison, however it's configured, asking them to do the next step. But if the reviewer ever needs to find their bills, so sometimes they might ask you about this too, like, hey, it's not on my to-do list anymore because I marked it as complete, but I want to go look at it. You can always go to bills assigned to you, and you can see, there it is. Oh, there's 1001. And if it hasn't, so this said it's already in the approval process automatically, so they can't change it because it's already happened. So it kind of locks it out to make sure people don't make changes mid-approval. But I'll show you on the other side how to kind of unlock or open it back up if you need to. But most of the time, they can come in here and take a look and read it if they need to. And if they ever ask if you're just providing support for your reviewers, they also have an upcoming events page that shows the bills they're working on and any hearings that are scheduled. So that's helpful to them too, right? If they have 10 bill analysis assignments and they're trying to figure out which ones to work on, you could say, well, check upcoming events, see which ones have a hearing coming up. Maybe it's 2 or 3 of them. They could focus on those. So now what I want to do, I want to switch back out of here. And I'm going to switch to the liaison again, just to show you what happened. Analysis. So it's not an analysis pending anymore. And it's going to go into the, I think it goes into the, it's going to go to an approver. But I did want to show you what you can do. So all tasks, even though it's not one of these stages for you to look at it yet, you can go to all tasks 1001, and you can expand and see, it needs, the stage, it needs approval. And you can see who worked on it, get some information. And you can also download it, get some details, so you can actually read and see what I wrote. You can see the random text that I put in there. So you always have access to everything wherever it is in the process here on all tasks. But since the way it's set up, it goes to an approver next. So after the reviewer looks at it, it goes to an approver in your division, which might be a division director, or depends on the structure, right? But if you have any questions about that structure, you can check in with Josh as well, because it's configured. I think we got it in there though. So it sends an approver a note saying, hey, please approve this bill. And so if I'm the approver, and we're working on getting rid of these kind of extraneous tabs, so we're working on that. So a little less confusing. We're just working a few configuration things out as we get ready for session for you. But needs final approval. Here it is, 1001, the bill we just worked on. The approver has some options. They can download it as a PDF. They could change reviewers if they need to. Most of the time, they're not going to need to worry about that. They can edit, but again, most of the time, they're not going to need to worry about that. 99% of the time, this approver is going to click Approve Reviews. It will take them into this screen. Looks very similar to what the reviewer worked on. The approver has the ability to make edits if they need to. Most of the time, right, they're going to just read it, but maybe they catch a typo or something they don't like, they want to change, they're more than welcome to do that. Then you're going to scroll down to the bottom here, and it gives the recommended position and priority that the reviewer suggested. And then it gives this final option for the approver to give the final recommendation. So sometimes, a reviewer, it's something they're very excited about or very interested in. They might recommend it high, support, low, oppose. And then the approver takes a look at it and says, I don't know. Or they look at it and they say, yeah, that's fine. So they're given the option to give the final recommendation on behalf of the division. So I'm going to mark that. And then they can write a summary like divisions, maybe a message to Ann if you want to say, or just add something for the rec. We're really concerned about section 3, section 3, and you can see I made a spelling mistake. So it actually has the red line underneath to make spelling corrections in the form itself. And you'll see down at the bottom, I have a few options. I can say as the approver, I want to work on it some more. I'm not ready to submit it. I can always download it again here. I can mark it as complete and submit it as final. So that basically submits it back to Ann and Josh's on behalf of the division. Or if there are a bunch of problems with it, or the division needs some more time to work on it, or just the approver has the ability to reject it. So if they reject it, it just pulls it one step back. It takes it out of the needs approval stage, puts it back into the pending stage, and sends a note to the reviewer and gives the reviewer a chance to make some changes. So, that happens from time to time. Most of the time, though, it's probably best here just by the approver, and they're able to mark it as complete. So I'm going to do that here. I'm going to mark it as complete, submit the review as final, and I'll show you what happens. So you'll see now, again, as the approver, it takes me back to this needs final approval page, but that bill 1001 is gone. So it's been approved. In the background, a message has been sent to all involved saying 1001 has been approved. Ann and Josh get a notification letting them know that the analysis is complete from the division. So then they're able to take action, and know that the analysis is actually final. And if I click here and completed, you'll see I can see it in the completed stage. On the completed stage for liaisons or approvers that kind of have that administrative responsibility or privilege for the division, this is where you could change it to not complete here as well and kind of back it up. You can always download it, view it, make changes to it if you need to, but so you have that access. And I also just mentioned again, you can also always go to all tasks and see all the bills. See, there's 1001, expand it and see like, okay, it's complete, and where the division landed on the recommendations and the date it was reviewed. And you can click details and look at it. So you can see it's all pretty transparent, pretty accessible to you, and it leads you through those processes through the use of these step tabs. So as far as a liaison is concerned, or the coordinator, there really isn't anything else that you need to worry about at this point. Your job is really on the front end, right, to assign it to the right subject matter experts and make changes to that if you need to, and just kind of monitor how things progress. But so again, I can go, now I'm back in the liaison view and I can see there it is, it's completed. And if you click edit, you could make changes if you need to, but maybe you need to change the files that are attached or that sort of thing, but most of the time you're not going to need to. So that's really the basic process, kind of straightforward process. Like I said, it guides you through these processes. So as the liaison, you'll assign it, the reviewer will work on it, then the approver will be asked to approve it, and then it works its way through that workflow pretty easily. There are some nuances to the process. Some of you, you've worked with this stuff before. There are subsequent versions of bills. So the system will give the ability to Ann and Josh to assign new versions, like substitute versions or amended versions, and those go back out automatically to the same people who worked on it before. and it gives them the ability to import their prior analysis so people don't have to start from scratch. So those happen as session gets crazier and more is going on with bills, but it will notify the reviewers as things are happening with the bills. So they should be able to stay in the loop. And I think, Josh, correct me if I'm wrong, I think all the liaisons, once session starts, they also you'll all get a digest email at the end of the day. I think that's turned on to just sort of summarize where everything is. So, like, okay, I've got 15 tasks in my division and 5 of them are complete, 10 of them are pending. Maybe, I guess I got up to 15 there, but maybe there are some that need to be assigned. It tells you where everything is. So that's really all you need to know as a coordinator to get through session. Obviously, oddball questions will come up, and the legislature can be that way. But for 99% of the bills, you're going to get an email asking you to assign it. You'll assign it. Users will complete their review. Approvers will approve it, and you'll be good to go. If you're working, things do come up, like someone's out sick or someone, you need to change the reviewer. You can always go to see analysis pending. See if I can find one. I might have. So they'll be listed there if it's pending, and you'll say, signed a bill to me and I'm out sick or something happens. You'll always be able to come to analysis pending, see that bill, and edit. There's an edit button that lets you edit who it's been assigned to. So if you need to change the reviewer because I'm out or someone else needs to work on it instead. So again, I think pre-file time, these bills are starting to trickle in, so you'll get a chance to play with these before January and see how it works. So one other thing I'll just mention before answer any questions is there are some report functions inside LobbyGov. So inevitably you either just in terms of managing all this or other people in your division director, or somebody wants you to help get some reports out of the system. There are a number of reports that you can generate. So you can run, we have 4 in here right now that can do various things. So there's an assignment report. So if you just want to know all bills in your division or all bills across the agency and where they're assigned, you can run a report like that. You can, it comes in Excel, so then you can manipulate it and you can set the start date and end date, lead division, or choose the division. So in this case, it's your division. And then you can decide if you want bills that have a lead division of any other division or just yours. You can mark and check these different things. You can even narrow by reviewer. So if you have a bunch of reviewers and you just want a list of all of, maybe Brady works for you and Brady's really struggling to get his bill analysis done. You could narrow it to just Brady's bills and then see, oh, these are all the bills that have been assigned to Brady. And you could do that. You can download these reports on demand, so you can get into LobbyGov when you have a chance and get some data in there and start playing around with these. So no waiting for reports. It usually generates in just 30 seconds or less. It'll just give you a little message saying generate. Okay, what did I not check? Okay, well, I guess we need some more data in there for it to not give me an error. But so you could generate. You can also email it to you. Email it to someone else, so you can generate as much as you need there. The daily assignment report, so a lot of times people, maybe managers or somebody in your division, might want a report of all the assignments for the day. You can run that in here if you need to. A summary report, so maybe you want a summary of all the bill analysis that's already happened or has been that your division's been working on in one report. Instead of downloading them individually in those PDFs like I showed you before, you could come here and actually, it gives you the option to select which fields you want on the report. So these are all the different bill analysis questions. Some you might on the report, some you might not. Like maybe you want, what is the bill director required DS to do? Like maybe that's a good one. You want that. And maybe you also want impacted stakeholders and the estimated fiscal impact. Maybe that's all you need in that report. And you can scroll down and generate it. And there's also this option to save it for future use. So you don't have to come back every time. If that's a report you're going to generate on the regular, you could just come here, save it. Brady's standard report, hit submit. And then what'll happen is when you come back here, summary. you'll see now it popped up with a saved report will be listed there. So you'll be able to select that, work your way down, hit generate, just like, and have all those settings pop back. So the other option is an upcoming events report. So again, you have similar filter, filter options. Maybe you want to know the upcoming events for all bills or just high priority bills or that sort of thing. So you can run those types of reports as well. So that reporting function can be nice. I know Josh and Ann probably send out reports across the agency or to divisions as part of their kind of their customer service, right? But other times things will come up and you may need to generate reports on your own. So that functionality is available to you as well. So that's my quick run through. Maybe not super quick, but run through. So I'm happy to answer any questions, or just if there are questions about the process, or Josh, if you had anything to add, I'm happy to open the floor.
Thank you, Brady. I appreciate it. I'm curious to everybody that's on here. Does this make sense?
Yes, it does. And it's about 100 million times better than BATS and whatever was before that. I'm very excited to use this.
Yeah, I'll second that.
Yeah, I think that's we hear that quite often. So I hope that's the case.
Yeah. And just so you guys know, I'm not going to leave you guys just hanging around. I'll always be here to help you guys if things get sticky or you don't understand something. One thing that came to my attention that Sherry came up or talked about with me on Friday was the link to our LobbyGov site. If you actually click on that link, it takes you to the portal, and that website address, if you save that portal website address, you won't automatically log in. So what you want to do is you want to go into your favorites, save the DESLobbyGov.com address and put that, and actually copy that and paste it into your favorites instead of right clicking on the link when you open up a LobbyGov. And I'll do a little write up on that, on how you can do that on 3 of the browsers. So is there any questions?
It's funny you should mention that. I can't get the DES LobbyGov to work right now. So, hey guys, sorry I'm late.
Grand entrance, Anne. Perfect. Hey, I do have a quick question about the, oh, sorry, this is Sherry in FPS. Under the bill analysis and the assignments, as a coordinator, AKA liaison, we occasionally have the need for, we assign the bill out for analysis to one person in a program, but then it needs to be default to the program manager for review before it gets to the appointing authority review, or the AD.
Sure.
You had talked about having some of those tabs up there taken out, but the way that we set ours up previously is we have like a structure, right, that you guys know about. So is this set up that way for us for this year?
I can set that up for you. When I pulled everything out of BATS, it didn't look like you guys had a review process like that. So let's talk on the side and we'll get that set up for you.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so if your process is a little different than the standard one I walked through, yeah, just check in with Josh. That can be all of that's configurable on the admin side. And then when I mentioned removing the tabs, if the tabs are relevant to your process, they won't be removed. So it'll be good to go.
Great. Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm. Okay, are there any other questions? Okay, silence is a good thing. I will, later on this month, what I'll probably end up doing is assigning a bill to each of you guys, just so you can play around with it. So you can get a feel on what happens when you actually get a bill. And then we'll work through that process. And I don't have anything else. Is there anything else? You have anything, Ann?
No.
Okay, great. Well, if you don't have any more questions, we'll stop the meeting.
So everybody, happy holidays.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks for everything.
Yes,
Thank
thank you
you.
so much.
Brady and Josh.
Yep.
And thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Josh.